I am thrilled to hereby call to order the January 4th, 2021 meeting of the Richmond City School Board. Ms. Collins, can you take the roll, please?
Yes. Don Page,
Here.
Jonathan Young,
Present.
Elizabeth Dorr,
Here.
Cheryl Burke,
Here.
Miss Nicole Jones,
Here.
Dr. Shonda Harris Muhammad,
Present.
Miss Stephanie Ritzy,
Here.
Kenya Gibson.
Here.
I believe, Mr. Cameras, we have a quorum.
Thank you, Ms. Collins. And let me just say welcome to the new Richmond City School Board and
Hello.
Ms. White, if you can mute. Thank you. And a special welcome to our newest members, Mariah White, Shonda Harris Muhammad, Stephanie Rizzi, and of course, Nicole Jones. Thank you all so much for being here tonight if you're watching from home, and welcome to everyone. Our first order of business tonight is selecting a chair and a vice chair. So I'm going to open up the floor to nominations. And I see Ms. Page would like to speak, so I will ask her to go ahead.
Thank you, Superintendent Cameras. I would like to make a motion to nominate Cheryl Burke as the chair and Jonathan Young as vice chair.
Second.
Thank you, Ms. Page. So we have a motion to nominate Cheryl Burke as chair and Mr. Young as vice chair. I think we're going to do each of these separately. So let's hold the nomination for Mr. Young until we do vice chair.
That's fine.
Okay, so let's do chair. Are there any other nominations for chair? Okay.
Don't we have to complete the motion that's on the floor?
I believe we're
I
gonna.
seconded.
Okay, so we have Ms. Page made the motion for Ms. Burke as chair, seconded by Ms. Dorr. And Ms. Collins, can we take the vote?
Yes. Ms. Dorr,
Yes.
Ms. Burke,
Yes.
Ms. Jones,
Yes.
Mr. Young,
Aye.
Ms. Page,
Yes.
Dr. Harris Muhammad,
No.
Ms. Ritzy,
No.
Ms. Gibson,
No.
Ms. White. Ms. White, Ms. White,
Hello. This is Miss White.
Ms. White.
Yes.
Yes, we're taking a vote for chair, Ms. Cheryl Burke. Hello? She muted again. Ms. White, we're taking a vote for Cheryl Burke as chair. Would you?
Yes.
Yes?
You said for Cheryl Burke for
Yes,
president? For president?
for chair, yes, ma'am.
I was looking for someone new. I mean, new members. No.
Okay. Okay, a motion is approved 5-4.
Congratulations, Ms. Burke, Madam Chair. And with that,
Congratulations.
I
Thank
will,
you so much.
I will turn it over to you.
All right, thank you, colleagues. Good evening, everyone. We will continue with the election at hand. And we have from the motion, originally Mr. Young was nominated. Are there any other nominations for vice chair? And that motion was not second, was it? It was second complete
Yes.
for the two. Don, okay. Don Page made the motion. Elizabeth Dewar seconded. Are there any other nominations for vice chair?
Madam Chair, I have a point of clarification. Do we need to, that motion was not separated out when it was originally made, so do we need to go back and just redo the motion?
Ms. Lilly?
When Mr. Cameras, excuse me, I'm sorry, I'm getting a lot of
Got
feedback.
feedback going on too.
Yeah.
I'm asking for clarification.
Yes, when Mr. Cameras said that they were separated, Ms. Page said, okay. And so I interpreted that as her acknowledgement that that motion, she was accepting that motion. Now, if that was not the case, Ms. Page, then
That was the
you need to
case.
say that.
That was the case. I was
okay.
satisfied with that.
Okay,
Yeah, that's what I thought, that it was, she had amended her own motion.
Yes.
I was just asking for clarification because
Understood.
the word amended was not used. I just wanted to make sure. Thank you.
Thank you. So are we ready to vote? All right, Ms. Collins?
Ms. Dorr,
Yes.
Madam,
Miss-
sorry, Ms. Collins, Madam Chair, I'm sorry. I'm not sure that I heard a second.
I seconded it.
Ms. Dewar, second.
Thank you.
Do you accept, Mr. Young?
Far be it.
Okay,
okay, Ms. Burke,
yes.
Ms. Jones,
Yes.
Mr. Young,
Aye.
Ms. Page,
Yes.
Dr. Harris Muhammad,
Yes.
Ms. Ritzy,
Yes.
Ms. Gibson,
Yes.
and Ms. White. Hello? Hello, Ms. White, can you hear me?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, thank you so kindly. We're going to vote for Mr. Young as vice chair. Are you voting yes?
Yes, I am. Yes, for Mr. Young.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, thank
Have a
you.
unanimous vote, Madam Chair.
Yeah.
Mr. Jonathan Young, vice chair. Thank you.
Congratulations, Mr. Young as vice chair. All right, we will continue on with our agenda. Next subject, 1 point.
Kim, do you have an electronic? I'm sorry.
I'm
Can we
sorry.
continue? All right, we're ready to move on. The next item on the agenda,
Madam Chair, I'm sorry.
yes.
May I, if you in the group would indulge me for a moment?
Would you do this for me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and this is regarding your just being elected.
Yes, ma'am.
After 1.04, when we finish up with the interim clerk and everybody else's position.
Oh, absolutely.
Thank you, I appreciate that.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Chair. Yeah. So we're gonna move forward now with 1.03.
Hold on, I'll do it.
We're going to move forward now with 1.03, adoption of the agenda. I do not see anything in the comment section on the chat.
Madam Chair, I do have a comment. I put a comment in the chat. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I see it above Mr.
Yes,
Young.
ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Go right ahead.
I would like to amend the agenda to include a discussion of the fiscal year 2021-2022 budget development, in addition to a discussion to restore elementary floating programs to classroom teacher planning periods.
All right, what's the will of the board? Is there any, are you making that a motion or just to amend the agenda as is, right?
I am making a motion to amend the agenda with the 2 bullets I just mentioned, and I can put that in the chat.
Would you be so kind?
Yes,
So
ma'am.
Collins can get that in her notes as well, correctly as stated. All right, so
Absolutely.
now it's the opportunity for us to vote on amending the agenda to include, as Dr. Harris Muhammad stated, to include visiting the budget for this upcoming year and the float schedules for faculty. What's any discussion?
Yes, Madam Chair.
Don Page is listed as Ms. Page.
Yes. So my question to the body, what is the start date of our budget discussion? And would it, I mean, is there a particular reason why we need to start sooner than what the schedule is already stated? Madam Chair?
All right, let's continue on with the discussion. Right now, I know the date for Mr. Cameras, February, was it January the 19th, our next meeting, that's on the agenda, is that correct?
That's correct, Madam Chair.
So it is on the agenda for January 19th. It's not on the agenda though regarding the float schedule. Is that on the agenda, Michelle or Jason?
No, that's not on the agenda.
Okay. Because those are items. All right, we also have, does that answer your question, Ms. Page?
No, I just want, I mean, my point is those items can be discussed during the budget session that's on January the 19th, if that's the will of the board.
Exactly, which is a regularly scheduled meeting. We don't meet
Yes.
on the 18th because of Dr. King's birthday.
And
Ms.
Madam Chair, I have a comment that I placed in the chat, not to cut
Right.
you off.
Ms. Gibson is ahead of you, please.
Yes, ma'am.
Ms. Kenya Gibson?
Yes. Go after we discuss the agenda.
off,
It's
Kenya.
regarding the.
Ms. Gibson? We can't hear you well.
Yes,
You're very off.
Yes, you can continue. My question is not related, is related to, it's not related to the agenda. My question is regarding the adoption of the Finance Committee Chair. I think that should be part of the leadership.
The what? Finance?
We don't have a chair for the Finance Committee.
Okay, we're gonna get to the committees and all as well. That's on the agenda later. Can you hear Ms. Gibson? You're frozen on my screen. That is on the agenda. Committees is on the agenda for tonight. And that is an attachment as well. Getting back, does that answer your question? Ms. Gibson is frozen. All right. Hopefully she sees that. I will place that in as well. Mr. Cameras, you have one edit you stated for the agenda?
Yes, Madam Chair. I wanted to defer the presentation of the program of studies until the January 19th meeting.
All right. So we have two items on the floor. One is suggestion from the superintendent and the other is a motion. Mrs. Dr. Harris Muhammad, you stated you had another, and then we'll have Ms. Dewar.
I have a comment, not another motion. I don't want you all to think I have another motion. I have a comment. The reason why this is important for new board members to receive some information is to give the superintendent and his cabinet, there may be specific items that I am interested in knowing that may not be on the 19th. So I am in no way asking for a budget presentation, but what I am asking in the motion professionally for is a budget discussion. So if the motion is professionally approved, then at that time I will provide the bullets that I think is needed for particularly the new board members to request of the superintendent and his cabinet to have for the January the 19th meeting. I'm in no way asking for a presentation this evening.
Point well taken. I understand it better now what you were asking as well, and I understand your position. And I do have a comment for that as well, and would like to hear from other board members. Mrs. Dewar?
I'm good. That clarification was very helpful. Thank you.
Yes. So that's it. All right, let me share this with you. And I was thinking about that this afternoon, coming on as you all are in the middle of a school year. There's a lot of information you need to receive, Dr. Harris Muhammad. You are absolutely correct. And I know we're not voting on the budget on the 19th, but we will have the opportunity. We probably need to get to you beforehand, all the information that you're requesting. Would you give us an opportunity to work that out? And the reason I'm asking is you would need to have everything in its completion. So there is a budget in place. The other item, float, would be different, but the discussion on the budget, I believe, isn't until February. Is that correct? When do we vote on the budget? It has to be February, isn't it? We don't vote on it in January 19th.
No.
That's a work session. That's a work session, but you must receive everything beforehand so you can study the budget. I'm glad you have your computer now and go over everything, and that's a process. And it's not, you are correct, you do need to have that. So what I'm asking is, because of a discussion and not having that information in front of you, would you reconsider your motion, or you wanted to stay on the floor? What is your choice?
My pleasure is to keep the motion as is, Madam Chair.
All right.
Because if it is passed, there are particular items
Yes.
that need to be requested
Yes.
for not only the returning board members, but definitely for the new board members. And those pieces of information requires careful thought and consideration.
Exactly.
So absolutely. So I would like to keep my motion as is. Thank you for asking though.
Thank you. All right, we have Mr. Young has a comment, and then Ms. Page.
Thank you, Madam Chair. If it has not yet, I'll gladly second Shonda's motion and call for the question.
All right, so the motion on the floor is Mrs. Dr. Harris Muhammad has amended the agenda to include a discussion of fiscal year 2021-22 budget development and to discuss the elementary floating schedule. Are we ready for the vote? Is there any discussion to follow? I do have Mrs. Page. Have you made your comment? And then we have a comment from our attorney, Ms. Lilly.
No, I just wanted, can we highlight the timeline for the budget calendar that includes like work sessions? Just so that everyone can familiarize themselves with the budget calendar and the opportunities to have the discussions such as what Dr. Harris Muhammad just
not doing nothing. I don't know what's going on.
Okay, someone please mute your phone or your computers, please. We can hear background talk information. All right, the next item is John L. Lilly, Ms. Lilly, our attorney.
Hi, I just wanted to clarify because a lot's moving right now. So I want to make sure that we have Dr. Harris Muhammad's motion. And are you, Ms. Harris Muhammad, excuse me, Dr. Harris Muhammad, you're moving to amend the agenda to include these two items, and that's it. Is that correct?
That is correct. Would you like for me to restate?
No.
Okay.
And are you actually adopting the agenda with the amendments that you presented? Is that what you are intending to do?
Madam Attorney, can it be done that way? What does Robert Rules of Order state?
You can, your motion can stand, and we can amend the agenda, and then we can adopt wholesale because there's another item that's out there that wants to be.
Then I would like to do that,
do it that way. And
for
so,
those that are watching, so they can. And Ms. Lilly, can you just explain that process for those that are watching? What that means? What you just said.
respectfully, can I do that in a minute, oh, as far as amending the agenda.
Yeah.
Basically, I wanted to clarify what the intent of the agenda, the motion was. If the motion is to simply amend the agenda, we will take the motion up. I believe Mr. Young seconded the motion. Once it is amended, those two are, if the answer is yes to amend, then the board will adopt the agenda as amended. But we do have another item that the superintendent offered that needs to be subject to a motion after we finish this. So I just want to make sure we're all in order. So the first thing would be Ms. Harris Mohammed's motion to amend with Mr. Young's second. Then we will take up the matter of the deferral of the program of studies at a separate motion. And if that goes through, we will adopt the agenda as amended.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Lilly. Are we ready to vote? And again, the motion as is listed on your chat box is to address the budget and the floating schedule. Second by Mr. Young. Mrs. Collins, we're ready for the call.
Ms. Dorr,
Yes.
Ms. Burke,
Yes.
Ms. Jones,
Yes.
Mr. Young,
Aye.
Ms. Page,
Yes.
Ms. Gibson,
Yes.
Ms. White,
Yes.
Ms. Rizzi,
Yes.
Dr. Harris Mohammed.
Yes.
All right, it's been moved properly second and voted in unanimously that we add that to our agenda. So we need to add that now in a position, then we'll move forward with Mr. We need a motion next to follow regarding removing the study of it on the agenda regarding the academic piece. So that would fall under, for the budget piece, that would fall under, let's see. Ms. Lilly, publicly, that should fall under board business, correct?
Typically, the budgetary items follow, I believe, the administration business, but certainly it can fall wherever it needs to fall. Board business, and then since there is no administration business listed, it can follow board business.
Excellent. So we'll make that 6.01. Administration business.
We'll make it a budgetary discussion.
Okay. And we also, so please add that to your agenda, everyone. Ms. Collins, do you have that 6.01?
Yes.
Discussion. And now we need to also add, that could be 6.02, or the opportunity to address the floating schedule. So we have 6.01, 6.02. 6.01 is the budget, 6.02 is the floating schedule. All right, thank you very much. As we move forward, we now need to address, beforehand though, Ms. Dorr, you have a comment, and Ms. Hadassah, excuse me?
I was just going to make a motion.
Okay, then before you state that, Ms. Hadassah is going to send around a calendar to everyone, especially the new board members, and we can edit that at any point we so desire, but it's listed each meeting and what the topics are, so we can pretty much stay on point. And that the new members do need that. They need a lot of information. We'll make sure, Ms. Collins and I will work on that this week to make sure they get a packet delivered or whatever to include everything before you have the next meeting, so you can study it and be ready and be prepared. And that's what we want, to stay on task. All right, so let's have the motion from Ms. Dorr.
I make a motion to approve the agenda as amended and to remove the discussion of program of studies deferring until the 119 meeting.
Second.
All right, it's been moved and properly second. Ms. Dorr, would you be so kind? You did put it in writing. Thank you. Thank you so very much. We want to be kind to Ms. Collins since she's returned to us and new as well, and this is great documentation. Ms. Dorr has made the motion to approve the agenda as amended and to remove the discussion of the program of studies deferring until the January 19th meeting, and Ms. Page second, correct?
Yes.
Ready to vote? Any other discussion?
No, Madam Chair, I'm sorry. I believe I second that.
Yes.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Thank
That's
you.
okay. That's all right.
Correction. Thank
I
you.
Yes,
think we
ma'am.
probably said it at the same time.
We probably did say it at the same time.
It's all good. It's
So
all.
you can have it, Ms. Page.
No, I let you have it.
We'll just put in the minutes it was properly second. All right, we're ready to vote. Ms. Collins? Roll call?
Ms. Dorr,
Yes.
Ms. Burke,
Yes.
Ms. Jones,
Yes.
Mr. Young,
Aye.
Ms. Page,
Yes.
Ms. Gibson,
Yes.
Ms. White,
Yes.
Ms. Ritchie,
Yes.
Dr. Harris Muhammad.
Yes.
All right, thank you all so very much. Now to move forward with the adoption of the agenda with the necessary changes. The next item on our agenda is 1.04, the superintendent appointment of our interim clerk, the agent, the deputy agent, and to approve the agent and deputy agent to act and sign in the superintendent's absence. Mr. Cameras.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I believe Miss Lilly had a note to make. I'm not sure if that was necessary to occur now.
Oh, you are absolutely correct, Ms. Lilly. Thank you so very much. Do you have that correspondence?
I can make that notification now, just to make certain for the record that the meeting, tonight's meeting is being held electronically. This is a standard, I should explain that this is a standard notification, given our virtual status that needs to be made at the outset of each meeting, that we are holding the meeting in accordance with the City of Richmond's ordinance that was recently amended and extended in December of 2020. The notice of the meeting was posted and described how the public could participate by sending in comments to our RVA speakers, and that translation services are available. The roll call revealed that 9 of the board members are present and participating. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ms. Lilly. Moving forward, we'll make sure that's noted at the top of our agendas, and hopefully, Ms. Collins, you have that as well. Thank you. All right, Mr. Cameras.
Thank you, Ms. Burke. I would like to nominate Ms. Collins as our interim board clerk, Dr. Epp as my agent, and Dr. Harris as my deputy agent.
Madam Chair, so
Madam
moved.
Chair, and I have a question. I have a comment that I placed.
All right, okay.
Okay.
One moment, please. One moment. We're going to do it. Mr. Cameras, would you be so kind to explain also, because the new members, they may know Shonda, I'm sorry. Ms. Harris, Dr. Harris, would you go back and list each person in the position they currently have so we can have that as well?
Absolutely. Ms. Collins as interim clerk, and then Dr. Epp, our chief academic officer, as my agent, and Dr. Sade Harris, our chief engagement officer, as my deputy agent.
All right, I believe I heard a second. I did not hear a second, but I do see listed Ms. Dr. Harris Muhammad has a comment. Please move
I
forward.
second also.
Yes, ma'am. I do have a comment. Thank you, Madam Chair. And this is also for Mrs. Lilly. I would like to make a motion, if possible, to separate those out. And I can explain why. Because again, you have new board members that are here. We do not know these individuals, and I think it would be prudent upon us as new board members if we could have some information as to why these individuals are chosen, good, better, and different. I don't know why these individuals were chosen. I do appreciate the superintendent giving us their positions. That was very helpful. But I would like to separate these out. I would like to separate Ms. Kimberly Collins out as the interim clerk from the agent and deputy agent.
All right, good question. And we have to move forward in a certain way. Ms. Lilly, would you explain the process?
I was going to say at the organizational meeting each year, the superintendent makes the recommendation for these positions, and appreciate wanting to, and I'm looking for the actual statute, but in any event, the statute indicates that during the organizational meeting, these appointments have to be made. We also have to provide the information of the identities of these individuals to the Department of Education each year, right after the vote, or right after the meeting where they're voted upon. And so that doesn't necessarily speak to you wanting them to separate. To keep clear on what we have, I did not hear, or maybe I missed, was there an actual motion and second regarding the recommendation?
Yes, there was. Yes, there was, but I understand the question well, but there was a motion.
Madam
And I too had to go back and study this as well regarding this position, because the interim clerk, as you know, our former clerk has moved on to another position in her home. And the agent and the deputy agent, all that comes together. I thought it was interesting too, because that's a board position, the interim clerk. But I found out that the state requires you to list these persons and the superintendent to appoint, but we make the motion and approve. So that's one reason why, if that explains it better as to why it's done in that manner. But I understand exactly what you're asking, and it does seem interesting in terms of how it's done. But the interim clerk, and I'm sure you knew, because you know Mrs. The person who was our clerk, and she's moved on, wonderful person, and I'm glad that we have interim Kim Collins right now, who was the assistant to the clerk. And the agent and the deputy agent always come from the superintendent's cabinet. So right now we do have a motion on the floor that was made by, I didn't write it down.
Madam Chair, that was yours.
All right, Jonathan Young.
Yes, ma'am. That was yours truly, and I gladly will withdraw the motion if it's the wish of Shonda to do it one by one. With that said, I will, in lieu of the motion, instead move that we approve the appointment of the interim clerk, Ms. Kimberly Collins.
Second.
All right, it's been moved and properly second to separate the two, Kimberly Collins as interim clerk, and then the agent, Dr. Epps, and the deputy agent, Dr. Harris. So right now, we're ready to move forward with the restatement of that. Let's first vote upon our interim clerk, Kimberly Collins. Are we ready to vote? We need more discussion. I do see, okay, we're up. Jonathan, did you have another comment?
No, ma'am.
Okay, very good. All right, if you're ready to vote. Ms. Collins?
Ms. Dorr,
Yes.
Ms. Burke,
Yes.
Ms. Jones,
Yes.
Mr. Young,
Aye.
Ms. Page,
Yes.
Ms. Gibson,
Yes.
Ms. White,
Yes.
Ms. Ritzy,
Yes.
Dr. Harris Muhammad.
Yes.
All right, unanimously, we have accepted the interim clerk position, Ms. Kimberly Collins.
And Madam Chair, if I may, I would so move that we would adopt Dr. Tracy Epp as superintendent's agent.
Second.
All right, Mr. Young made the motion that Dr. Tracy Epp is the agent in the absence of our superintendent, Jason Cameras. And who seconded? Was that
Ms. Page.
Ms. Page? Okay, so are we ready to vote? Any discussion? All right, Ms. Collins, we're ready to vote. Thank you.
Ms. Dorr,
Yes.
Ms. Burke,
Yes.
Mr. Young,
Aye.
Ms. Jones,
Yes.
Ms. Page,
Yes.
Ms. Gibson,
Yes.
Ms. White,
Yes.
Ms. Ritzy,
Yes.
and Ms. Dr. Harris Mohammed.
No.
And Madam Chair, I would now, if it's a pleasure of the group, move that Dr. Sade Harris be appointed as deputy agent.
Second.
Ms. Burke, you are muted.
Thank you. All right, thank you so much. As I stated that Dr. F81 is the agent in the absence of the superintendent, Jason Cameras. Now receiving the motion from Mr. Young and second by
Page, Ms. Page.
Don Page, that the deputy agent is Dr. Harris. Are we ready to vote? Any discussion, questions? All right, if not, Ms. Collins, move forward, please.
Thank you. Ms. Dorr,
Yes.
Ms. Burke,
Yes.
Ms. Jones,
Yes.
Mr. Young,
Aye.
I'm sorry.
Aye.
Thank you. Ms. Page,
Yes.
Ms. Gibson,
Yes.
Ms. White,
Yes.
Ms. Ritzy,
Yes.
and Ms. Dr. Harris Mohammed.
No.
All right, it has been voted on. Thank you, Ms. Collins. 8-1, Deputy Agent, Dr. Harris, Sade Harris. All right, we can now move forward. Oh, beforehand, this is where we're going to make our comments. Mr. Young, you first and I will follow. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Madam Chair, and allow me to first congratulate you on your election as chair. I look forward to working with you, and if I may second, convey my immense gratitude to my colleagues, all my colleagues, for this vote of confidence. I so look forward to working with you as I do with this superintendent, and I hope that this board, this superintendent, that we can focus like a laser beam on getting students back into school as soon as we can. Perhaps this summer. We all recognize that our students have, despite our best and most valiant efforts, fallen behind because of the pandemic, and not just academically, but socially, emotionally. Many of our families financially, and of course, most tragically, we know lost members of the RPS family. Our students, on average, not everyone, but on average, they start at a disadvantage, and it seems now even more than ever, it's incumbent on us at RPS to do everything in our capacity to address that, and I hope that we will this year. That we will elongate the school calendar, that we will amend the school year and adopt a year round. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Young. I'm not muted, am I? Good. Thank you, Mr. Young. We appreciate your comments. Thank you so very much. And I'd like to thank everyone as well. I look forward to continuing to serve our children in the city of Richmond. But I'm very, very, very happy that we all are bringing different experiences to the table. We're also bringing different levels of wisdom and understanding. And my hope is that we could continue to collectively work together on behalf of every child, because I know that we all are here to serve our children in the Richmond Public Schools. As my colleague just stated, Mr. Young, yes, these are challenging times, but we have the opportunity together to address our long list to continue, including all we've been through with COVID, virtual learning, housing, and this a lot across the world, across the country. However, if we just keep, as Jonathan just stated, as a laser staying focused on the main thing, and that is the care and well-being of every child, mentally, socially, academically, and together, in partnership with the city and agencies, and most important, our parents and our students, our teachers, our support staff, our administration, we can make this happen. We can get better and better, providing we just stay focused. And I look forward to serving as your chair. I'm not hard to find. I'll give you all my information. And as I stated in 2017, I was new to the board as well, and I welcome the opportunity to get as much information as possible. So please hold me to that. Please hold me to that. If you ask for it, you should get it. If you don't get it, then there's another reason. But thank you so very much. And Ms. Collins, congratulations to you. Again, I'm happy that you're back with us as we continue to move forward. And I just want to thank everyone again for choosing me to lead. And I am honored and I am humbled. And I thank you as we move closer to being the best school, not only in the metro area, but throughout. Thank you so very much. All right, as we move forward, 1.05, approve the minutes. They are listed collectively together. I'm not sure if the new members had a chance to get the minutes from April 6, 2020, December 7th, 2020, and December 17th, 2020, which that is the Education Compact meeting. Usually we do this collectively together, but if anyone has any, before we have a motion to move, if anyone saw any corrections or additions that need to be made to the minutes, if not, we'll receive a motion to approve. What's your pleasure? Please put in place. Okay, Shonda, Dr. Shonda Harris. No, I did not. Did I miss something?
I get the minutes. That's what I didn't want to interrupt you.
Okay.
I did not. So I will have to abstain. I did not receive them.
That's right. Thank you. Well, we need to make sure that you all, and that makes sense because you were on the board then. That's right. Okay. So really, this is a vote that will be pretty much for the new persons. However, Ms. Lilly, they are public information. So some board members may have read them because that is on board docs as public information. Ms. Lilly, you want to add to that?
No, I was just gonna also, just for reference, they're posted to board docs, I believe. Ms. Collins, is that correct?
Yes.
They are. So our other new members, some other new members, what you're saying. So therefore, we'll take a vote at this time, please, to approve the minutes if there aren't any corrections or additions as listed.
Madam Chair, we need a motion to approve.
So move.
All right, Mrs. Page made the motion to approve the minutes. Is there a second?
Second.
Are we ready to vote? Any discussion? Ms. Collins?
Ms. Dorr,
Yes.
Ms. Burke,
Yes.
Ms. Jones,
No.
Mr. Young,
Aye.
Ms. Page,
Yes.
Ms. Gibson. I'm sorry. Ms. Gibson. Hello, Ms. Gibson, are you there?
I thought she answered. Ms. Gibson? Her computer, can you put it in the chat box, Ms. Gibson? Because we can't hear you. And thank you, I see on the chat box. Okay, thank you, very good. Ms. Gibson, we're waiting on your vote. All right, I'll try to send her a note to see if she can put it in the, Jonathan, can you help with that? To see if Ms. Gibson, since we can't hear her.
Yeah, yes, ma'am, but I affirm your reference a moment ago. I think I did hear an affirmative from Kenya
That's
before
Okay.
Rose.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, all right.
Ms. White,
No.
Ms. Ritzy,
Yes.
and Dr. Harris Muhammad.
I will abstain.
All right, Mrs. Collins, so we have two no, and we have three no, 2 no and 1 abstain. Otherwise, the minutes are approved as read. Okay, let's move forward to 1.06. Set meeting dates. That must be something standard that's on the agenda. I thought we spoke at the last meeting, but this is a new board.
Yes, Madam Chair, if I may, please.
Please.
Okay. Currently, you're meeting every first and third Monday of each month. If Mondays are a holiday, the meetings will meet on Tuesday. So would you all like to keep that, or?
All right, we can open up the floor for discussion. Thank you so much for explaining that, Ms. Collins. Is there any discussion? Someone just stated they have a comment. That is Dr. Muhammad, and followed by Mr. Young.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I think it would be prudent for us as a board to continue with our regular meeting dates, because I think it would be difficult to notify, well, not difficult to notify our parents, but I think it would be difficult for the families that we serve and the community leaders to change their calendar when we're already moving into the second semester of the school year. So I make a motion that we leave our meeting dates as they are currently listed.
Second.
Ms. Page, second. We do have a comment from Mr. Young.
Madam Chair, no. Shonda said it a lot more eloquently than I could. I completely concur with what she said.
All right, thank you so very much. So it has been moved and properly second that we keep our meeting dates as listed, first and third Mondays. And in the event that it's a holiday, such as January 18th coming up, Dr. King's birthday, we will move to that Tuesday. Any other discussion, questions? We're ready for the vote. Ms. Collins?
Ms. Dorr,
Yes.
Ms. Burke,
Yes.
Ms. Jones,
Yes.
Mr. Young,
Aye.
Ms. Page,
Yes.
Ms. Gibson,
Yes.
Ms. White,
Yes.
Ms. Ritzy,
Yes.
and Ms. Dr. Harris Muhammad.
Yes.
Motion.
All right, thank you so very much. Moved unanimously. It's time now for recognition. 2.01, Elijah Williams, November Student Representative, Mr. Cameras.
I believe we are just thanking them and then introducing our new student representative for January. So I do want to thank both our November and December student representatives. And I would like to introduce Israel Torres Castellanos, who is our representative for January. Israel is a senior at Huguenot High School. He currently holds the position of Battalion Commander of the Huguenot High School JROTC Falcon Battalion, as well as the rank of Cadet Lieutenant Colonel. In addition, Israel currently serves on the 2020-21 Superintendent's Student Advisory Council, and I've enjoyed getting to know him through that. Israel has received numerous awards, including two-time recipient of the JROTC Superior Cadet Award, Policy Pathways Youth Public Service Award, National Sojourners Award, Military Order of the Purple Heart Award, and the Military Retirees Club of Excellence. After graduation, Israel plans to attend Virginia Tech or Virginia Commonwealth University with a major in mechanical engineering. With that, I present to you Israel Torres Castellanos, who I believe has a few words to share with us.
Thank you very much.
Yes, go right ahead.
Thank you very much. Good evening, board members and superintendent cameras. I would like to thank you all for allowing me to serve as a student representative for tonight's board meeting. I would like to take a moment to speak with you about RPS teachers and why I think they deserve a raise. RPS teachers are outstanding. They truly care about their students and continue to teach with love every day. So often, they are willing to stay after school for additional hours in order to further educate and help their students. Not to mention the fact that they spend their own money on supplies for us. I often wonder why they do this, and I have come to realize that they do this because they deeply care about us. I honestly cannot think of any other profession where employees willingly work extended hours without additional pay. In addition, I have also seen many great teachers come and go because they were not being paid what they deserve. This is something that is deeply concerning. I do not like the idea of losing great teachers because they were not being paid what they deserve. I have had many teachers who were willing to stay after school with me or my classmates in order to help us understand a subject or pass an exam. Some of them remain in the classroom, while others have moved on because of the salary. Teachers are the backbone of our society. Good teachers make great citizens, and without good teachers, we cannot have great citizens. Our teachers deserve better pay so that they can continue to teach with love and make students great citizens. Please help us keep our wonderful teachers by implementing a budget that offers a competitive wage to instructional staff. Thank you for listening.
Thank you. We're going to give you a clap and a handshake as well. I've met you several times in your uniform and have seen just introduced to many, and you are a fantastic fabulous student, and you've represented Richmond Public Schools very well. I'm sure every teacher over there just at Huguenot just loves you and then some. So hopefully they heard your message tonight, because we can never pay our teachers enough. So maybe one day, even though you're gonna be an engineer, you too will be in a position to vote to make sure that happens. So thank you so much. Good luck to you. And when you're ready to leave, just let us know, because we know you have to get ready for school tomorrow. We want you to continue making those great grades. So thank you, and best wishes to you for continued success.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. All right. Okay, we'll now move on. Also, colleagues, I think the December is Jayla Towns. I don't know whether we said her name or not, Mr. Cameron. So we have two former students. We've been quite honored to have such great students before us. We're now ready for 3-point public information. 3.01. Normally in the past, we either read the comments 1 or 2 minutes. Usually it's 2 minutes, not to exceed 2 hours. I think we have about 42 public comments this evening. So what is your pleasure? We can go with 2 minutes. 3 minutes is usually when we're face to face. Is there any discussion? Jonathan, is that you, or that was left from earlier?
That was previously, yes, ma'am.
Okay, so we're now ready to move forward with the public comment. Are you in agreement with keeping, I just need consensus. We don't need to vote on that. Consensus for 2 minutes, or you'd like to make it shorter? What's your preference?
2 minutes.
Thumbs up or thumbs down? Thumbs up or thumbs down? 2 minutes? All right, I don't see all thumbs up, so I can't see Miss Mariah White, so that's not fair to her. So is there any comment regarding the public comment? Mrs. Collins would read the comments, and I believe Ms. Lilly is going to time, whatever time we set.
Okay.
And I'm asking everyone now, are you in favor of the 2 minutes as we normally would practice?
Yes.
All right, very good. All right, Ms. And we do know that's an attachment if you
Madam
want to read
Chair.
along. I'm sorry, someone asked, Mr.
Madam Chair, I think I saw a comment from Shonda pop up, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay, Ms. Bashamat, excuse me, Dr. Muhammad Harris, you have a comment regarding the comments?
You answered it in your comment, so.
Right. Thank you so much.
Mhm.
Okay, I see it now, Jonathan. Thank you, Vice Chair. All right, let's move forward. Someone else stated they're good with 2 minutes. Very good. Thank you, Ms. Page.
And Madam Chair, I'm so sorry. I know I'm not intending to be out of order, but to help everyone, Dr. HM is fine. I know I have a very long name. So
Okay.
Dr. HM is fine, okay?
All right, thank you
Yes,
so much.
ma'am. You're
Thank you.
welcome.
All right, let's move forward with Ms. Collins and with 2 minutes. And Mrs. Lily, our attorney, will time. And
Thank
before
you.
we move forward with that, thank you so very much. I know this is our first meeting for the 2021 school year, but many thanks to our parents and our students and our stakeholders in the community for your public comments. It's difficult not being with you face to face, to see you as you come before us to speak, but these are the times that we are in, challenging, but we're still here to listen. And we're still here to take into consideration what you are putting before us. I've read them and a lot of food for thought. So we thank you for your input. Ms. Collins, please proceed.
Thank you. Eric Lawrence, recently, Mr. Robinson, an employee of school system, posted the following comment to social media. Who are Mitch McConnell's neighbors? I'm just saying, Rand Paul's neighbor did what a true Kentucky hero should do. It's your turn to step up. Questions I would like to address with the school board are the following. Will the school board be investigating? Not only is he celebrating the assault of another person based on ideology, but he is encouraging further assault on a person, again, based on ideology. Number two, will the school board be following the preset guidelines for investigation and punishment of such infractions? This is no stern talk to moment. How are parents and how can parents and students who do not share Mr. Robbins' political views trust him to act fairly or even not wish to be assaulted by Mr. Robinson himself? Thank you for your time. I hope you realize the critical importance for teachers and their
30
ability.
seconds.
You said time?
30 seconds.
Okay. Their ability to teach all students equally, regardless of their affliction to cohort of Palusi. I can count numbers of many teachers among the family members, including my wife, mother, father, aunt, uncle, 2 nieces, 2 cousins, all of whom appear as superior teachers to Mr. Robinson.
Time.
Crystal Gumir. How about you add your teacher of the year calling violence against a sitting US senator on social media to your meeting agenda? Benjamin Cheney. Hello, I'm writing you in hopes that someone on the school board has a shred of decency and immediately moves to terminate the person from their employment due to their indecency violence against Mitch McCall on Twitter. Mitch McCauley on Twitter. This kind of behavior has no place in any decent society and certainly nowhere in the educational system. It's sickening to know, and it's sickening that you would employ such an individual. Kind regards. Jason Pooley. Rodney Robinson, the 2019 Teacher of the Year, has shown himself to be unworthy of that award and equally unworthy of his position within public school classroom. Mr. Robinson tweeted on December the 30th, 2020, which has now been deleted. Clearly, advocates for violence against the Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell, regardless of your opinion of Senator McConnell, all good people should agree that promoting violence is not an answer to controversy of our time. Mr. Robinson's stance is an unacceptable breach of trust that the public has with the students and parents, and he should be removed from his position immediately. There is no room for this type of hatred, inflammatory radical, upon the part of public servant. Stephen Earnhardt. Rodney is an embarrassment to the school district. A call for violence should never be made, and there is no excuse. Valerie Catrow. Good evening. I am writing to ask you that you please renew Superintendent Jason Cameron's contract for another 4 years. Mr. Cameron's leadership has been stellar since he arrived at RPS. His commitment to transparency, communication, and dream big for our students is inspiring to watch. His leadership has only proven more valuable since the pandemic hit, as Mr. Cameron has led the charge to keep RPS students, teachers, and staff safe in the midst of it. As the entire RPS community looks into 2021 and all that it will bring, we need the leadership to stay consistent, and we need our leaders to stay focused on this task at hand, not a superintendent search process. Reckoning with the short and long-term effects of this pandemic is having on the RPS families will be a long process. Complicating nuisance process in need of a leader with empathy and commitment, who knows and loves RPS. Jason Cameron is the person. Thank you. Jane Crocker. Is Rodney Robinson the person you think represents the best of teachers in VA? Is it his violent attitude, others to violence that pushed him to the top of the list, or his apparent disdain for white women? Is he the example you want to hold to other children? Patty Savick. We cannot teach our youth the idols that Rodney Robinson thinks he is above. He holds our children accountable when they threaten people on social media. The same should happen to our educators. There is a handbook, I'm sure, that has to be adhered to. We, the people, demand his resignation effectively immediately. Hold him accountable. He chose to incite violence. And apologize is not enough. Respectfully yours. Julie Reen, to whom it may concern. Rodney Robinson, 2019 Teacher of the Year. Really, really think before you speak. Do you really trust this man in the room with a closed door, with impressionable minds? I'm a teacher myself. I've been one for 25 years. I watch what I say in person and watch what I say online. Apologies at this time is useless. He knew exactly what he was doing when he typed it. Absolutely wrong. This is a man who needs another profession. You should be calling for his resignation. As a parent of 4 children myself, I'd be absolutely livid. You need to hold fast to your principles. He is no model for children and should find another profession. Sincerely. Julie Joyner. Dear school board members, I am writing this request that you renew Superintendent Cameron's contract for 4 years in order to continue implementing equity-based policies, creating a strong RPS community, and building on a positive monument of his administration. The school board charged the new administration with reaching a number of goals. Number one, building a strong relationship with city leaders, including the mayor. Number two, find additional funding sources for schools. Number three, replace aging schools and infrastructure. Number four, create consistency in school curriculum, practices, and programs. Most significantly, during his tenure, Mr. Cameron identified multiple issues and worked on resolving them with optimism and confidence. Though many of the problems were not of his making, he readily accepted responsibility and developed solutions that worked. In just a few short years, he has pushed our district in a positive direction. Mr. Cameron's leadership in the pandemic has been incredible. We've provided food, technology, and school supplies despite funding challenges, widely deriving opinions and political unrest. With committed administrative leadership, our school system will succeed, and Mr. Cameron is the right leader for RPS. I urge you to renew Mr. Cameron's contract. Thank you. Tish Irby. I am a proud Richmond Public Schools graduate alumna of George Wythe High School, class of 2007, Bulldogs, a very proud mother and advocate of 4 RPS children. Soon will be 5 RPS children. Mr. Jason Cameron is doing an incredible job of moving RPS forward. The challenges he has tackled are immense, and he is meeting them with creativity, compassion, and wisdom. It takes time to turn a system around, but he is absolutely headed in the right direction to fulfill the vision of excellence for RPS. And it is also important to remember that for the first time in a long time, we have a superintendent who has the support and trust of RPS parents, teachers, and the Richmond City Administration. Mr. Jason Cameron stands out as the most outstanding leader we have been fortunate enough to have. He should definitely have 4 more years and more time with us. Hashtag we are RPS. Hashtag Team Jason Cameron. Thank you, Mr. Jason and RPS, for all you have done. Hashtag RPS strong. Doug and Sarah Bradbrand. Board members. Recently, inflammatory and divisive social media posts, white women teachers should be moderated, calling for assault of political opponents by Rodney Robinson, a senior member of RPS, should trouble everyone who believes in a tolerant society that of public funding education system was found to promote. This recent pattern of his public behavior requires official sincere from RPS and offer a teachable moment that cannot be missed. Teachable not only to Rodney, but to the entire RPS community. RPS should require Rodney Robinson in a public forum to offer his guaranteed First Amendment views and beliefs that he finds essential in an educational development of our children. Superintendent Cameron and the board would then decide which of his comments to be embraced and promoted at RPS policy or as its mission. Teachers, and most importantly, students and parents would be given ample opportunity to respond. As Bradley's rightly put, sunlight is the best disinfectant. If official censor is not made, it's,
Time.
All right, excuse me, Ms. Collins.
ma'am,
All right, we're gonna give you a break, and Ms. Lilly, I understand you all already talked this through. Between you,
Yes. we're
Ms.
good.
Gasco and Ms. Lilly, to give you a break.
Yes, I can
Read.
continue for a little bit.
And who's gonna do the time?
I'll do the
I
time.
can, okay. Kim, you're gonna time?
Okay,
Yes,
so Mr.
yes,
Dasco.
I
you
need
can
to
read
get
it.
some water for a second. I'm sorry.
No, you're good. This is what we always do. This is what we always do.
Uh-huh.
Take breaks. It's a lot. And thank you so very much for what you've read. It's quite all right. It's good. It's good. Give you a break.
Janelle, I can start the time for you now.
Okay.
Okay, good. Go ahead, Ms. Collins, we're good for now. And Mr. Dasco is taking the time and keeping the time. Ms. Lilly will read henceforth. Thank you all.
Cameron Coutreau. Cameras has brought empathy, grit, creativity, inclusion, and a tireless work ethic to the job. He has navigated RPS through arguably one of the biggest challenges in its history during the pandemic and has done a fantastic job. I have 2 young children and intend for them to one day attend RPS, largely because we believe in Cameron's message, practices, and the results he has and will continue to achieve. Please renew his contract so that my future RPS kindergartner will benefit from his leadership. All the best. Martha Wingfield, dear school board members, I teach in Richmond Public Schools and live in Hanover County, so I do not have a board member to contact. Please keep Cameras for 4 more years. He is leading RPS well, and to search for a new superintendent would do a great disservice to our students, faculty, and staff. We need a strong, continuous administration to keep RPS on track. Thank you for considering my input. Lisa Doremus. The superintendent and his cabinet need to go along with Harry Hughes. The system is going down each day. The school system is run by 3 principals, directors that had failing schools. Solomon Jefferson does not know how to lead leaders. He lost his job in Henrico, and Richmond took him on as a director to improve instruction. Guess what? He's not doing that. He constantly talks about what he did in Henrico, which was a failure. Harry Hughes does not communicate with all the leadership. He has his picks. Indira was the principal at Ginner Park and Summer Hill, and she took both schools down and continued to do so as a principal director and continues to do so. Surveys are always being done on other areas in the school division, but never on the superintendent and his cabinet. The only person worth keeping is Ms. Hudesco, who responds immediately to situations. If you ask me, she is running the system. I am still concerned about how the school board allowed counselors and principals to lose their job, but never is the upper administration held accountable. I hope the school board gets a backboard and be more watchful in what Mr. Cameron and his cabinet are doing to our school division. I realize we are going through superintendents every 4 years, but this has to be one of the worst ones of them all. As long as the teachers continue to receive what they want and mandate what goes on, they are going to want to keep him. Wake up, school board. Shannon Lindblom. I am an RPS parent writing in support of keeping our superintendent, Jason Camrus. He is clearly a deeply principled and compassionate leader who stands for what is right, no matter the pushback. He listened to our teachers' concerns about in-person learning and has been ahead of the curve in keeping us virtual. During a year of virtual learning caused by a global pandemic, we would cause further instability and harm to our children if we attempted to start over with someone new. We also owe it to our new board members to allow them to get the lay of the land before asking them to consider major changes. I sincerely hope the board will vote to extend his contract as long as possible. Kelly Cannon. As the parent of a first grade student, I urge you to renew Superintendent Cameron's contract for 4 years. His leadership and the dedication of the stellar team that he has assembled has ensured the safety of our students, staff, and families during the most unprecedented time. His commitment to equity, inclusion, and empathy is critical for the recovery period that our schools will enter once this pandemic concludes. RPS has great opportunity ahead of us, and I believe that consistent leadership from our dedicated superintendent is necessary for our future success. Please renew his contract with 4 more years. Thank you. Mike Dickinson, Rodney Robinson must go. His behavior over the last year is an embarrassment to Richmond. He is a racist and he has no place being around kids. He needs to get special counseling for his anger issue. It is unacceptable for somebody who deals with kids to be full of anger and hate. The school board must take action because Superintendent Jason Cameras is equally incompetent. Save our kids and get rid of this racist Rodney Robinson. Paul Eubanks. This man needs to be fired. He has proven himself to be full of hate and anger. Get rid of him. Jesse Dennett. I'm appalled at the behavior of Richmond City Schools Senior Advisor Rodney Robinson, someone who tweets out calls for violence, joking or not, and attacks on people solely for their political views. Robinson is not fit to be around children and should be fired. He is a danger to others, and judging from his tweets, is not mentally stable. We must take action now, as we cannot trust Superintendent Jason Cameras and his failed leadership. Otessa Middleton Miles. New greetings to members of the Richmond Public School System School Board. I am a 3rd district resident with 3 students in Richmond Public Schools. I am also a 4th generation graduate of RPS. I strongly urge that Superintendent Jason Cameras' contract be renewed for the full 4 years. I strongly urge my school board representative, Kenya Gibson, to vote in support of renewing his contract for the full 4 years. Across the country, and even in neighboring districts, we have witnessed school system leadership be indecisive and at times not responsive to the needs of all students. Fortunately, here at RPS, Superintendent Cameras led with compassion, grace, and by offering tangible support to families. During this lingering pandemic and at a time fraught with racial violence and growing economic disparity, Superintendent Cameras has addressed these issues immediately after seeking counsel from those most impacted. Our students deserve consistency and leadership. Kenya Gibson, as my school board representative, please support renewing Superintendent Cameras' contract for the full 4 years. Vic N. I am appalled and disgusted at the behavior of Richmond City Schools Senior Advisor Rodney Robinson, someone who tweets out calls for violence, joking or not, and attacks on people solely for their political views, in addition to other negative tweets made by Mr. Robinson, indicate a lack of judgment unacceptable in a teacher. He should be fired, as this is repeated behavior. We must take action now, as we cannot trust Superintendent Jason Cameras and his failed leadership. Leaders now need to justify their behavior. Do we tell domestic abuse survivors, many of them African-American women, to ignore their threats to their safety at the peril to life and limb? Do we brush it off as a joke? We take a stand, protect them, and don't let the abuser off, nor should you. There comes a point in time where you must act. And there are links listed in the comments as well. I am appalled at the behavior, concerned citizen. I am appalled at the behavior of Richmond City Schools Senior Advisor Rodney Robinson, someone who tweets out calls for violence, joking or not, and attacks on people solely for their political views. Robinson is not fit to be around children and should be fired. He is a danger to others, and judging from his tweets, is not mentally stable. We must take action now, as we cannot trust Superintendent Jason Cameras and his failed leadership. You people care for nothing more than indoctrination of students to forward the left-wing agenda. Ainsley Perkins. I noticed that a change was made to the public information section. The previous board did not vote to approve such a change. Public comments are now just limited to 1 minute and for no longer than 2 hours. It is unclear how this change was authorized without the board's approval. Kat Cannon, it is very concerning that this board appears to be ignoring Virginia Code, specifically sections C and D of section 22.1-60, certain contractual matters of the superintendent. Section C references that board members be qualified to renegotiate, which is a very tall order at the first meeting with new representative. Section D references that at least 30 days notice be given to all board members of any meeting at which a vote is planned on the renegotiated contract. I hope this board will delay such a discussion and vote until representatives are acclimated and at least 30 days has been agreed upon. I would like to state my full support for renewing the contract of Jason Cameras. His transparency, kindness, and commitment have been just what RPS needs. Continuity and stability going forward are so important. Kenneth Martin. I'm appalled at the behavior of Richmond City Schools Senior Advisor Rodney Robinson, someone who tweets out calls for violence, joking or not, and attacks on people solely for their political views. Robinson is not fit to be around children and should be fired. He is a danger to others, and judging from his tweets is not mentally stable. We must take action now, as we cannot trust Superintendent Jason Cameras and his failed leadership. This person is not a positive role model. Rosalind Gibson. I thank God for Richmond City School Board selecting Jason Cameras as Richmond School Superintendent. He has been a blessing to the Richmond Public Schools. My request as a Richmond resident and parent is for Jason Cameras to remain as the Richmond School Superintendent. Since day one of his tenure, he has worked toward promoting inclusion, equity, and justice for all children. He began by reaching out to the RPS parents and students to improve the educational experience here in Richmond Public Schools. Jason rolled up his sleeves and began addressing the needs and concerns of the Richmond community. Superintendent Cameras has accomplished much within his first term. He never shied away from the many challenges within Richmond Public Schools. He confronted the challenges boldly with a positive, progressive approach that involved the ideas and wishes of the community. His biggest challenge is the COVID-19 crisis. Jason Cameras, the school board, and Mayor Stoney delivered and met the needs of our students, teachers, and staff. The safety of our children was a priority, and this meant a lot to me as a parent. I cannot say enough about how impressed I was with RPS management of this crisis. RPS exceeded my expectations. For a change, the Richmond City school system outperformed and outshined all other area school districts. They simply had a good understanding of the student population. This leads me to apply this quote to describe my summary of Jason Cameras' leadership approach. You can't teach what you do not know. You cannot lead where you do not go. The school transportation department and staff delivered free meals to all of the city students. RPS worked closely worked to close the digital divide by providing a Chromebook for every RPS student. This was a dream come true for my family and me. He rallied for better pay for our teachers so that Richmond could compete and attract good teachers. Pay raises have been issued to all. Thank you. Lawson and Ramesh Wasoria, and I apologize if I mispronounced your last name. I am writing to express my support for the renewal of your contract with Superintendent Jason Cameras and a four-year extension of his contract. I am a parent of two RPS middle school students, and I am very impressed with Mr. Cameras' leadership. First, I would implore our community and the board to value consistency and longevity in our school leadership. Of course, there will be times when change is needed to seek the best for our children, but I feel strongly that repeated turnover in leadership is detrimental to progress. We often think our problems will be solved by blaming someone and seeking change through a new leader, only to lose the necessary investment of time it takes to learn a new community, build trust, try things, make mistakes, and grow forward together. Leading an urban school district is not short-term work. Mr. Cameron understands this, and we should continue to work together with him to realize even more of our potential to improve outcomes. I believe Superintendent Cameron's greatest strengths are communication, unwavering commitment to equity, dedication to his work, and the ways in which he has uplifted the student voice, student accomplishment, and general sense of pride in our school system. I applaud the ways in which he has pursued a proven curriculum, engaged the community on the strategic plan, built a strong team around him, prioritized different things as he learned our community and listened to others, and generally leads by building coalitions and trust with other city leaders. Like all leaders have been and will be, Jason Cameron is not perfect, but I have rarely seen a leader so committed to the well-being of all children, and he does so with humility. Fred Larimore. I am appalled at the behavior of Richmond City Schools Senior Advisor Rodney Robinson, someone who tweets out calls for violence, joking or not, and attacks on people solely for their political views. Robinson is not fit to be around children and shouldn't be fired. He is a danger to others, and judging from his tweets is not mentally stable. We must take action now, as we cannot trust Superintendent Cameron and his failed leadership. Maggie Tinsley. I'm a first district resident and RPS parent and urge the school board to extend the superintendent's contract for as long as possible. He is the best one I've seen since my girls started RPS in 2006. Thanks. Kim Gomez. I'm in full support of Jason Cameron and the collective work he and his team are doing. RPS should continue his contract with at least 4 more years. His leadership and commitment to all kids across RPS shines through his words and actions. L. Merkel. I am writing in support of Mr. Cameron and as RPS superintendent. I am a 5th district resident and have been a business owner in the greater Richmond area since 1988. Since my oldest of 3 children enrolled in the VPI program 16 years ago, I have been a parent partner in the district's public schools. I have been engaged as a volunteer in PTA and other campus-specific communities, school board, and administration initiatives over the years. From such positions, I have been introduced to opportunities in community trust building and have served as interim chair of the board of a community nonprofit. As such, I have directly interacted with 3 of the previous 4 RPS and RVA administrators, boards, and councils. As is the nature of politics, community action, and policymaking, I have not always agreed with the decisions made by those in charge. However, without reservation, I believe Mr. Cameron to be the most attentive, fair, and transparent of these leaders. He is an exemplary communicator. Communication is paramount regardless of the times. In collaboration with the school board, Mr. Cameron can ensure our children and their future will persist in the midst of the uncertainty of the current health and economic crisis, as well as the inevitable aftermath. I have faith in the newly elected board members, such as yourself, to continue to work with him to work well with him. Together with cohesive leadership, the challenges will continue to be met head on with the best practices and fact-based calculations, upholding the safety and optimal potential of our students' education experience. The next 6 months, as critical to the next 4 years, will bring extremely difficult deliberations on budget, safety.
Time.
Marjorie Manaker. Ms. Ritzy? Ms. Rizzi, I'm sorry. Congratulations on being sworn as a member of the RPS School Board. As a resident of the 5th District, I would like to express my support of Jason Cameras to continue as school superintendent of Richmond Public Schools. Under his supervision, RPS has increased standards and made advanced placement courses available for more students. And the Passion for Learning program has provided more students with access to arts and music programs, as well as the creation of 2 middle school STEM academies. The English learner programs have started to address the ever-growing population of non-English speaking students. Staff have seen raises from principals to custodians, and the social emotional supports are being incorporated into each level of schools. 3 new schools have been built and opened, helping to improve the older infrastructure so common in our city. I believe that Mr. Cameras will continue working with the school board to improve these programs and do the hard work needed to support students, staff, and teachers during the remainder of the pandemic. His leadership along the way has helped ensure all students had what they needed from access to laptops and hotspots to meal distribution. His daily email communications show him to be down to earth and a man of compassion, throwing his full support to the interest of students. Thank you for your service, to our city and the 5th District community. Meredith Thompson, I am writing in support of a 2-year contract renewal for the superintendent. This would give stability during this difficult time, while also giving new board members an opportunity to evaluate the superintendent independently, particularly since they are being forced to adopt a contract 30 days into their term. A 4-year contract will ensure this board, over half of which is made up of new board members, has no say in RPS leadership for their entire tenure. A prudent 2-year contract extension is a committed yet responsible approach in this moment, allowing all stakeholders an opportunity to reassess. I would question the wisdom of new board members who would vote for a 4-year contract that could limit their ability to govern a mere 30 days into their appointment to the board. I assume Superintendent Cameras, who has championed performance-based job evaluations, would be most agreeable to this approach. The Henrico County School Board has wisely offered their superintendent a 2-year contract extension as well. I would also remind this board that Superintendent Cameras remains the highest paid superintendent in RPS history and is still the highest paid superintendent in our area under his current contract, despite in being the most cash-strapped district in our area. Lastly, I hope to hear some discussion around the legality of leaking speculations of confidential contract negotiations by board members on social media. Janet Kelly, thank you for your service to kids in Richmond. I have some good news and bad news to share with you this evening. The bad news is that despite all the planning, effort, and cost that went into launching online learning in Richmond, a large number of children are still not learning due to the digital distractions. The good news is there are simple, easy, and inexpensive solutions. Here's what happened in our family. On the 2nd day of school, we received an email from my son's virtual learning center director telling us that instead of listening to his teacher, he was watching games on YouTube. For the next 3 months, he struggled and failed to choose learning over video games. At my insistence, he hasn't logged on since Thanksgiving because of the harm addictive apps have done.
Ms. Lilly,
Yes.
I think this is a private statement, not intended to be included.
I'm making an adjustment right now.
Okay, I'm scrolling, I'm sorry. Tom, or are we ready, Michelle?
Yes, I will set the timer for the next one and I'll finish finish the other one. Yes. Okay, I'm good.
Tom or Oristian. I am a father of 3 7th district students. Chimborazo represent. Jason Cameras is a dedicated servant leader to the families and students of Richmond, as is evident from his daily communication to the RPS community. He leads with steady empathy. He has challenged Richmonders to explore what true equity looks like and is committed to doing his part to make it possible. Let's do our part in this moment and keep him in Richmond for another 4 years. Thank you for your time and dedication to our city's families at RPS. Regarding the superintendent's contract renewal, as his contract states, all aspects of these decisions should be treated confidentially by the school board and superintendent. It is important that such HR decisions be made confidentially and not overtly politicized. It is worrying that the superintendent's contract has become a topic of debate when our newly seated board cannot vote tonight on the superintendent's contract under Virginia Code Title 22.1-60C and D. Jenny Boker. Furthermore, granting the superintendent a 4-year contract will deny this newly appointed board the ability to perform their elected duty to supervise the superintendent's leadership and make sure he is evaluated under the criteria of our strategic plan. Lastly, I hope this new year brings less mandated professional development and restores float time for RPS teachers and staff. I also hope teachers and staff will be granted more flexibility to be creative in teaching, especially with regard to their Eureka and EL curricula. Philip Andrew Hamilton. Rodney Robinson, a teacher within your district, should be disciplined for calling out for acts of violence against Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell. Calls for acts of violence should be condemned against Democratic, Republican, and any other political targets. It is your job to hold members of the government, which the public entrusts, to these standards of civility. The tweet that was posted is included as well. Bryce Lyle. Thank you for your service. Dear school board members, thank you for your service to your city and to our students. I write to express my full support for Superintendent Jason Cameras and the great work that he and his staff have been doing during these most trying and difficult times. Superintendent Cameras has been a model of leadership, and I really appreciate the way that he has communicated with families both before and throughout the pandemic. Please extend Mr. Cameras' contract for at least 4 years and commit to supporting him as he works to implement your shared visions for our school. Rupa Murthy. Please accept this public comment for tonight's meeting. Please let me know if you have any questions or need anything further from me. As a mother of 3 in RPS and an early education advocate, I am hopeful you will work with Superintendent Cameras to renew his contract for 4 years. I would like to share a few comments from a petition we created to ensure you hear from RPS students, families, and advocates. We are not interested in a superintendent search next year, nor a political power struggle between our board and our administration playing out on the front page of the region's newspapers. Students, families, and teachers are asking you to keep Cameras as the superintendent for Richmond Public Schools for 4 more years. Here's a sample of the comments from the petition, #KeepCamerasPetition. Cameras has done a tremendous job as superintendent, developing a community-driven strategic plan, collaborating effectively with the city of Richmond and other partners to get the funds needed to start implementing the plan, making racial equity a key pillar in all decision-making, and leading with compassion, decency, and tireless work during this pandemic. He has shown incredible, steady leadership in the most turbulent of times. I am a teacher and former RPS parent, and I believe in Jason Cameras. I have been impressed by his dedication and steadiness and moved by his seemingly inexhaustible reserves of empathy. I'm the parent in the 3rd district, but I'm also concerned about all kids in Richmond, Virginia. Cameras has done more positive things for the kids of the city, thus the city itself, than anyone in the city's government in the 20 years I've lived here. He has been willing to acknowledge and address difficult problems that previous superintendents have swept.
Time.
Sarah Milston. I wanted to take a moment in advance of tonight's meeting to express my support for Cameras. I can think of no other superintendent in my children's school life that could have navigated the pandemic with such grace. I am continually impressed at his incorporation of equity principles, his inclusive spirit, and accessibility on issues. I urge you to support his contract renewal. Jen Warren. I am a 19-year resident of the 3rd district and have been an RPS parent for 9 years. My son is currently a student in RPS. In my opinion, Jason Cameras is the best thing to ever happen to Richmond schools. Even if you disagree with some of the actions the current superintendent has taken, you disagree with some of the actions the current superintendent has taken, you must acknowledge that he has taken action. Action and movement are what our schools have lacked for many, many years. Let's not start over with another superintendent in 2022. Keep Cameras and may the action continue. Cody Camblin, Happy New Year. As we start the new year, I wanted to quickly take you back to a talking point from last year's budget sessions. For the capital budget last year, the administration asked for $17.1 million, but were only granted $3.9 million from the city, $13 million less than requested. This year's dreams for RPS is projected to be $13 million more than last year's request. If we don't lobby the city and state for more money and spend it wisely, we won't achieve any of the goals of our strategic plan. Our teachers will still leave, our buildings will still be dilapidated, and our students won't graduate on time. Best regards. Madam Chair, that ends, I believe, the reading of the public comments as I have them.
Thank you so very much, Ms. Collins, Ms. Lilly, and Mrs. Hadasco. Thank you very much. We will now move forward with and thank you again to persons that did share their concerns and letters of correspondence to us. All right, now we'll move forward with the next item on the board action items, which is 4.01, receive for action budget transfers.
Good evening, Chair Burke, board members. Happy New Year to everyone. Tonight, I bring to you a board transfer within our technology services department. What we're doing is continuing our work to reduce our dependency on external services and contractors. And so what you'll see here is a transfer of $126,000 out of a contracted services line to build 3 full-time RPS employee positions within the department. The positions will be 2 service desk technicians and 1 senior telecommunications technician. There will be no reduction in services. In fact, I suspect there will be an increase in services for comparable budget given in-house work.
All right, so do we need to get a motion on that as well to accept that transfer, correct? All right, let's finish that up now. Are there any, can I get a motion first, or do we have any discussion first regarding the budget transfer? Any questions? All right, may I get a motion so we can move forward?
I move that we accept the budget transfers as submitted to us, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Dr. Harris. Mohammed?
Second.
All right, Ms. Page, second, and I hear a question to be asked, and I believe I don't see it on the listing. Did I hear another voice? I don't see it on chat. Does someone else have a comment? All right, if not, then we're ready to move forward with the passing of that motion. Excuse me, we're now ready without any further discussion or questions. We're ready to move forward with the vote. Ms. Collins, are you ready?
Yes, Ms. Dorr,
Yes.
Ms. Burke,
Yes.
Ms. Jones,
Yes.
Mr. Young,
Aye.
Ms. Page,
Yes.
Ms. Gibson,
Yes.
Ms. Ritchie,
Yes.
and Dr. HM.
Yes.
All right, Carl, thank you so very much.
You
Ms.
forgot me.
I'm
Thank you.
sorry, Ms. White. I apologize. I
Ms.
apologize,
White.
Ms. White.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Ms. White. Next time, we're going to put the jury on the screen with all of us. So we apologize for whatever's happening tonight. But thank you so very much for hanging on in there with us with your landline. Thank you. All right, the next
You're
item
welcome.
on the agenda is 4.02, with which we decided in the motion earlier to move to January the 19th meeting, and that is the action on an addendum to the program of studies. So if we can move forward now to the next item. And colleagues, let me remind you too, please, I was just reminded, please feel free to take a break if necessary for a moment, because we know that we all have needs and it's quite all right. And I appreciate being let know in the event that you have to go off for a minute or two. We won't make any votes without you. But thank you so very much. And because we've been in place for more than a couple of hours now, but it's all good. And we're almost done with this part. So thank you for your patience as we move along. All right, the next item is 4.03, receive for action the personnel actions. And that is Mrs., where's Sandra? Is she present? I know she was on here. There she is, Miss Dr. Lee, Ms. Lee.
Yes. Yes, good evening. Tonight, the Talent Office brings forward the following personnel actions for your consideration: the nomination of 16 employees, the change of contract of 7 employees, the resignation of 7 employees, the retirement of 7 employees, the rescission of employment of one employee, and the name change of 2 employees. Thank you.
I do see before we move forward that we do have some board members that would like to speak. Ms. Gibson?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I would like to move this to the vote to close session. There is a salary amendment that I would like to have discussed as part of our budget development. Thank you.
All right. Is there a second to her motion, to Ms. Gibson?
Second.
All right, Dr. Harris Mohammed, second. Is that your comment as well? I see you also listed for a comment.
No, that is not my comment. Thank you, Madam Chair. I have a separate one.
All right. Would you like to address that now?
Yes, ma'am. Madam Chair, thank you. Dr. Lee, I believe it is. And Ms. Lilly, please interject if I speak this incorrectly, but I would like to separate the change of contract for 7 employees. And in other words, what I mean by that is I would like to remove them off of this agenda and discuss them in close. One of the things that as new board members, we need information on is why some of these things are occurring. I'm not concerned about those that are resigning, those that are retiring, as much as I am concerned about those whose contracts are being changed. Excuse me. So I need some information as to why that is occurring now, prior to a budget cycle that has began. And if the board members would indulge in that to discuss those 7 employees. And it may be something as simple as A, B, and C. That's fine, but I would like to know, why that is.
All right, so we have on the floor a motion. It was second, which means when we go into.
Second.
Yeah, it was seconded, right? Yes.
Yes, I second Ms. Gibson's motion.
Right, I thought I heard someone else speaking. That's what I was asking. All right, so if we can move forward on that, then that will address your concern regarding when we go into close.
Okay, as a whole, Madam Chair? Okay, thank you.
And then we come back after the close as you
And
go.
with- Yes, ma'am. Thank you for that clarification.
All right, so Mrs. Okay, I have a motion about this. All right, so let's move forward at this time regarding the motion on the floor to address the personnel actions in close. Are we ready to vote? Any discussion or questions? Ms. Collins?
Madam Chair.
I'm sorry, I didn't see you. You're on here?
No, I didn't. I apologize. It just occurred to me that I'm confident anybody listening in is cognizant of this, but I just wanted to be clear, we will not be voting in
Right.
closed session. but
Right.
deliberating, and we'll come out and vote then. Just wanted to
Right.
make that case. Anybody?
That's what I said. So apparently I wasn't clear. Thank you, Mr. Vice
No,
Chair.
no, I'm just
come back.
laboring the point. That's all.
Appreciate you. Thank you. All right. So we're ready to vote, colleagues. Ms. Collins?
So, Madam Chair, this is Ms. Lilly, for the record, Ms. Gibson, your motion would be to move the HR agenda into close for deliberation.
That's what she stated. Ms. Gibson?
Yes, yes, and I, in the past, I'm not sure that actually was a motion. I think we would just do that, but yes.
In the past, you're correct, but it's been in motion and a second, so.
So technically, what should it be, Ms. Lilly?
Well, technically, I mean, a motion is on the floor, and so we can move through it and vote. But typically, if someone has a question on the HR agenda, the consensus is to move it into close, and we can dispense of it after that. But since a motion is on the floor, we can just run it through its paces.
Very good. Thank you so very much. Ms. Collins?
Ms. Dorr?
Yes.
Ms. Burke?
Yes.
Ms. Jones?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Aye.
Ms. Page?
Yes.
Ms. Gibson?
Yes.
Ms. White?
Yes.
Ms. Ritzy?
Yes.
And Dr. Harris Muhammad. I'm sorry, Dr. HM.
You're fine, dear. Yes.
All right, so that was unanimous. It's been moved properly second and voted on unanimously to discuss personnel enclosed. Can we move forward to the next item, subject 4.04, receive action for board travel and district activity requests. I see we have a comment in chat. Ms. Dorr?
Yes, hi. I checked with this with Mrs. Wilson at the last meeting in December, and we forgot to, I think it was a late meeting, forgot to bring it to a vote. And I suspect it with the transition to Mrs. Collins, it's been lost in the shuffle. So I was wondering if I could seek permission from the board for $70. Ms. Newberry, art teacher at Open High School, has requested submissions for 10 students to submit to Visual Arts Center. It's $70, and I confirmed with the finance department that I have the funds available. So I make a motion for $70 as part of my district activity.
All right.
Request.
Let me second. Don't want to. Okay, thank you. When it's less than $100, we don't have to get approval anyway. I mean, we don't. It's a different process. But thank you. We can proceed with that. But when we write requests for $100 and less, you can just run with it.
All right, I'll run with it.
I'm gonna be working with Kim tomorrow, so if you want me to sign off on it tomorrow, I can. But anything, colleagues, and at some point, we'll sit and talk with the new members who may not know the process with requesting, and we'll explain all of that to you all as well. If you already know, forgive me, but if you don't know.
I didn't even know that one, so thank you.
Yeah, okay, all right. But so therefore, I know we heard.
I withdraw my motion.
Okay, thank you, Liz.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Excuse me, Madam Chair.
Okay, Kim, Ms. Collins.
Yes, Madam Chair, I have 3 requests. Ms. Ritzy, Ms. White.
Okay, wait a minute. Let's finish this one first to make sure.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Okay, and I'm gonna give you a couple of 2 that I need to do. I forgot it for tonight. But we're all straight with what Ms. Dorr ask, correct? So please, as we move forward, each board member gets a very small stipend to spend on attending conferences, things for your schools, your students in your district, in the city. So we'll make sure that, I don't know whether that's been set up yet for the new person, so that you'll know that you have a very small penny bank of funds that you can use per your discretion. So, and I'm sure Ms. Jones is smiling when you said art supplies, Ms. Dewar. I saw the smile. All right, so are there others, Ms. Collins?
Yes, there
Madam
are.
Chair, I'm sorry, Ms. Collins, please forgive me. I had placed comment in the chat. Ms. Burke, Madam Chair, I think it would be prudent for the attorney to provide the policy number where that comes from, even though it's less than $100, to be in full transparency. I would like for her to share that policy number for those that are watching. Thank you.
Yes, and also when we can put that in on our next agenda listing as well underneath, so people will know that whole piece as well. Ms. Lilly, would you like to reference that?
Just a moment, please.
Okay, well, while she's doing that, let's go ahead and move Ms. Collins.
Okay. There are 3 requests. Ms. Ritzy, Ms. White, and Dr. Harris Muhammad are requesting to attend the new board members orientation through VSBA. The cost of this conference is $205 each.
Excellent. I'm so happy they're doing that. That was 3 of the 4 new members?
Yes.
May I ask at this time, I know we have to pass through this. Ms. Jones, were you aware of that?
Not really, but I'm interested in joining for sure.
Yeah, well, can we just put the paperwork out, Ms. Collins, and we can vote on her tonight as well, because it's an excellent conference and we do want you to be a part of that. For persons that are listening, this is the conference for across the state of Virginia. Every board member in the state of Virginia I hear some feedback. Is that television? Okie dokie. In the state of Virginia, we all are members, public schools are a member of the Virginia School Board Association, which is centered in Charlottesville, Virginia. Under our MOU, that's where we get our training. So this is and there have been several, as we have in the past, participated with the virtual classes now because it's not face-to-face. So this first session is excellent. I'm glad they're attending. Ms. Jones, we'll get you straight on that. So if we can receive a motion, so tomorrow when I sign off on the papers, we can have yours as well. So we can go ahead and get we need a motion for this, Ms. Lilly, of course.
Yes. So move.
It's been moved by Mrs. Page to but to approve from each of their accounts. That is our new board members, Ms. White, Ms. Rizzi, Mrs. Dr. Harris Muhammad, and Mrs. Jones, the opportunity to attend the Virginia School Board Conference virtually on January 26, 2021. Did we get a second?
I second.
Excellent. Are we ready to vote? Any discussion?
Madam Chair, can the cost be cited again? I'm sorry, in that motion?
I think it's 205.
Per person?
Yes.
Okay.
Any other discussion? All right, Ms. Collins, we're ready for the vote.
Ms. Dorr,
Yes.
Ms. Burke,
Yes.
Ms. Jones,
Yes.
Mr. Young,
Abstain.
Ms. Page,
Yes.
Ms. Gibson,
Yes.
Ms. White,
Yes.
Ms. Ritzy,
Yes.
Dr. Harris Muhammad.
Yes.
All right, thank you very much, and thank you for attending that. Thank you so very much. That means when we come back after that in February's date, we'll expect to hear a wonderful report from each of you. Thank you so very much. We never stop learning, and we never stop getting an opportunity to get more information, so we thank you.
Madam Chair, did Ms. Lilly provide that policy yet in the chat?
She has the policy, she does. One moment, please.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Ms. Lilly, please proceed.
Thank you. The policy is policy 1-2.5, compensation and expenses. And that again relates to the procedures that board members need to follow, not only the dollar amount, but the time frame as well with respect to submitting district activity request.
All right, are we ready to move on? So now we're down to, I believe 5.01. Is that correct? My pages are going out of order. All right, did I miss something? Receive action district. Okay, we're on point, 5.01. Okay, very good. 5.01, receive list of committees. Can everyone see that list on your attachments? I know Mrs. White cannot see that at this time, but the committees are listed. If you can look at this at this point, excuse me.
I cannot see it, Madam President.
Who is that? Ms. White?
Ms. White?
Yeah, that's why I just stated. I know Ms. White can't see it, and we're not taking any action tonight. But
Okay.
And I probably will call you tomorrow to give you some information in case you can't pull things up. Okay, Ms. Collins and I can do that tomorrow at your convenience. But we ask that you
Okay.
listing. We don't have to make a decision tonight. I'm hearing feedback again. Are you all hearing it? Okay, thank you. Thank you. We don't have to vote on anything, sign up for committees tonight. But we would like you to, I'm gonna get with Ms. Collins tomorrow and figure out a system as to how by the time we meet for our next meeting, everybody will know what he or she is signed up for. It's best to have no more than maybe 2 or 3. You know, when it's 3 persons per committee meeting, it's open up to the public, all right? It's public notice. But you have listed before you, and Ms. White, I want you to listen to this at length because I know that the person before you, Scott, had both specialty schools, and you sign up for what you so desire. At least everybody should have at least 1 or 2 committees. So if you want to take on, for instance, Jonathan did the Appomattox School. We also have the RVA, which is in your district. And we also have the Maggie Walker School. We also have the Finance Committee, which they meet regularly. And we received a listing of committees coming up to meet this month. So what I'm asking you is to review that list. And we're going to set up a system tomorrow to ask everybody to respond by a certain date to what committee you're going to meet with. And we want you to utilize your expertise and your wisdom and your experience, because we all bring something different to the board. I know we have a contractor on the board. We have someone else who works with procurement. So please, along with those of us who've been on the board for the past few years, please sign up according to your interests, but also your level of expertise, because we can lean on your strengths and build upon together what we need to do. Are there any questions regarding that request to study what's before you? I don't see any. I do have one question, Mrs. Yes, I do see. I see Mrs. Gibson, and I also see Dr. Harris Muhammad first, followed by Ms. Gibson. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am, Madam Chair. Thank you so much. I would like for the board's consideration to add 2 committees to that committee list. That would be the Policy Committee and the Human Resources Committee.
Okay. We don't have anything that addresses human resources. Thank you. And we'll vote on that in a minute. Then Ms. Gibson has a question, a comment. Ms. Gibson?
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. So yes, I think I just want to confirm that we'll be voting on committee chairs then at our next meeting. And I think that there is a policy update that we should consider. Currently, there are only in our board policy 1-5.1. There are 2 standing committees that are listed, the Disciplinary Committee and the Finance Committee. At one point, I think we should revise the language to specify that the leadership, the chairs of those committees will be appointed annually, similar to our board leadership. And I also think that we may want to consider including the evaluation committee as a standing committee. And there's also one of the things that the board in the last term had been talking about was the audit committee. And so I think that, we should refine the language to ensure that there's an accurate reflection of those current standing committees, potentially considering a human resources committee as Dr. Harris Mohammed had noted, and ensuring that we have, a process by which that leadership for those committees is rotating as well. Thank you.
All right, thank you so very much, Ms. Gibson. It sounds like we need to add quite a bit here in regards to that. And I'm gonna have Ms. Lilly to speak, followed by Ms. Dorr.
Yes, I just wanted to make a distinction that, well, I do see some of the board committees that are listed on here. To Ms. Gibson's point, I was going to raise the policy with respect to the two items that Dr. Harris Mohammed was talking about. Those would need to be formally established by the board outside of this sign-up sheet. And so, that along with some of the comments that Ms. Gibson made with respect to any changes, any policy changes that need to be made, that the board desires would need to be looked at. I didn't want the idea to be that we could just add them to this list, okay? We need to do some work outside of, and if you want to handle that outside of the list, that's fine. But we need to do some policy work on that first.
Yes. So let me ask you this, Ms. Lilly, regarding the policy committee and the human resources committee. Is that something that we could add at this time, or we need to wait until we revisit our policies?
You need to wait until you revisit those policies, because the board first needs to decide whether or not they want to establish them. They also need to, if they're standing committees for the policy, the scope of those committees needs to be fleshed out. And that is work, again, that needs to be done outside of just adding them to the list. So if you want to, want board members to sign up for those that have already been established by the policy as it's stated, that's fine. And then we can do work on the policy, given the considerations that were mentioned about the selection of leadership, as well as adding any additional ad hoc or standing committees. So.
And also regarding the question from Mrs. Gibson of determining the leadership of each committee, that is something, and is that pretty much volunteer for that, or did we vote for that?
I believe in the past there's been a first named person who was selected as chair.
Right.
There has not been an established process for that, to my knowledge. But again, if the board desires that to be written into the policy, then we need to make those policy changes and bring it back before the board for first reading, second reading, just like we would do others. For the other policy, for the other, other committees that have been suggested, because of the nature of them, you have to decide whether you want them to be standing committees or ad hoc committees. And then we have to decide how they're framed.
So we have some work to do, don't we?
For those that were mentioned, yes.
All right, well, I think the suggestions are great suggestions, and I'd like to have the opportunity to be able to have a discussion and the board agreement upon that. So right now, especially for some of us who don't have that in front of us as well, and we may have one or two that we may want to delete and add something else or restate. We can do that as well. So at this point, if you all would be so kind that we would, when we get the opportunity to revisit the policy piece, we can add those committees and also the suggestion from Ms. Gibson as well as we move forward. And is there any discussion regarding that? We want to make sure we're doing what is transparent, also what is right.
Yes, Madam President, this is Mrs. White. Can you hear me?
Yes, Ms. White, thank you.
I also have a question. I have a committee that I want to also include, but I'm not sure if it's on your paper because I can't see tonight.
Yeah.
I would like to include a diversity, inclusion, and equity committee, standing committee.
All right, Ms. Collins, do you have these committees listed, suggestions? So we have policy committee, human resources committee, and diversity and inclusion.
And equity.
Equity, so diversity and equity.
Diversity, inclusion, and equity.
And we'll have an opportunity when we come back to look at the policy changes and additions and to add that as well. But right now for the upcoming meeting, if we can look at what's there. If nobody signs up for one, then we know either it's something that we need to revisit or something that may be outdated at this point. So this is an opportunity for renewal. So that's great. All right. If we
Madam Chair, I'm sorry. I have a comment. I think I'm gonna use my hand because I can't type as fast to put comment in there, but
maybe also I need to slow down and look at it a little bit more. It's okay.
no, man, I think I'm just not moving as fast for you that I need to, but I think we also need to discuss establishing a timeline for the two committees that I mentioned, for the process that Ms. Gibson mentioned, as well as the committee that Ms. White mentioned. Ladies and gentlemen, it's very important that we establish timelines to ensure the public that we are committed to the things that we say that we're committed to on paper. So I would like for us to have some time to discuss the timeline.
So when we come together to address our committees beyond what is listed on the paper, those are discussions that we can have during our meetings such as this, when we do so please make a list of your suggestions and keep it close so that when we do talk about this, we don't forget all of that. And yes, we do need timelines, when we're going to do what, first of all, what we're going to do, what type of setup committee is going to be. So I think that is all great. We do have Ms. Doer, followed by Ms. Page. Thank you, Dr. Harris Muhammad. Very good. I see you listed as well. Ms. Doer?
Yes, I actually had a comment earlier. It was Dr. HM articulated some of what I wanted to say. My suggestion would be that Ms. Lilly, perhaps you could take a first stab at some revised policy language that incorporates some of the feedback here, and for us to review at the next meeting. And I would also suggest that Mr. Parker includes some language regarding the Finance and Audit Committee. I know that he has suggested changes to our policies regarding the scope of those committees. And then finally, I think it would be helpful to have a template for board members to request a committee to flesh out the scope of that committee so that we can all understand exactly the intention of the committee. For example, the HR committee, I would be interested in understanding how that's different or additive to the evaluation committee as one small example. And final thought is made me think that perhaps we should have just a short write-up of our existing committees so that board members can understand what those are. So anyways, those are my suggestions in terms of next steps.
That's an excellent suggestion. Thank you so very much, especially for a write-up regarding the responsibilities of each. So what I'm going to suggest right now, and we can decide upon that, those persons who are already serving on the committees, if they would be so kind to write up something, Ms. Collins and I will send something out tomorrow and just ask people to list according to what's already listed. Ms. Lilly, we need your help with that. Okay, there she is. In terms of writing up a description, that is a good idea. And whether we need to rewrite those committees or if they're still up to date that we should have, those are good discussions to have as we move forward. And also, ladies and gentlemen, keeping in mind our strategic plan, Dreams for RPS. That's so important that we stay aligned with that as well. So I think these are great suggestions and I thank you all. Excellent. All right, we can now, so right now we're just looking at the committees. We will send something to you all in writing in regards to, which means that we won't probably finish with the committees for a while. We just need, but we also need to come up with something. Don't we have something due, a committee this month? I received a note. Ooh, Ms. Collins, do you get called? Was it Finance Committee? Are you all getting ready to meet the current people? I'm looking at the calendar. Okay, we need to get that calendar to decide that. So we'll work on that tomorrow.
Madam Chair, I still have a comment.
Ms. Page, I'm sorry. Thank you so much. You have a comment? Go right ahead. Ms. Doer, you made your comment, right? You're done. All right, so now Ms. Page. Thank you, Ms. Page.
Yes, I just want us to be mindful and Attorney Lilly can really help with in the language of this, a clear scope of the purpose of the committee, because what has happened in the past, we have standing committees, and what's discussed in that committee, the same thing is discussed during board meetings. So being, really being respectful of everyone's time, the public's time, and also being transparent. We really need to clearly define the scope of each committee as well as the purpose of the committee. And some of the committees, we already have the scope the scope of the committee in place. So it could be just a matter of making adjustments. But I think we need to be really intentional about the scope of each committee and its purpose, so that we do not repeat the same information during the standing committee and then have it repeated again during our board meeting.
Thank you so very much. Point well taken. So it sounds like we have a little homework to do, but thank you so very much. And I would like we can go back to what was suggested regarding having a timeline in place as well, but also when it's time to report to our meetings, to what extent, especially if this public information is already on our board docs, what the report is beforehand. So it's gonna take a couple of weeks to work this through, I'm sure. So I appreciate everyone's patience and also look forward to the opportunity of hearing suggestions as to what to add or to delete. So point well taken. Thank you so much. All right, so that completes 5.01 for this evening, but not for good. All right, the next item is what we added. Administrative business 6.01, the budget suggestion for 2020, 2021, 2022. Is that right? No, the budget for the remainder of the year as we get ready for, yes, as we get ready for this.
2021, 2022, yes, ma'am.
Yes, thank you. Mr. Cameras, you all had a chance to bring that before us?
I have a motion, Madam Chair, that might help Mr. Cameras.
Okay, can Mr. Cameras first?
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
Mr. Cameras, did you
Thank you,
all?
Madam Chair. I'm not sure what the question was.
All right, the question is 6.01, of which we added just to get the, Michelle may have sent it, just to get the outline of what's expected regarding the motion that was made earlier, regarding the upcoming budget for the discussions that we're going to have. We don't expect a full report or discussion tonight, because
Yes.
that's on our agenda for the 19th.
Right. So
I was asking, do you have any information, you, Mr. Dasco, at this point regarding the budget?
I did send the calendar, Jason, just as context for you.
Okay.
yes, we'll be presenting our budget proposal on the 19th. Then there are a series of meetings to discuss that. I don't have the dates right in front of me, but Michelle sent them earlier.
Yes. Okay.
And in February, the board will approve a budget. Then it will go to the mayor and the council and then come back for adoption later this spring.
All right, board members, and this was just sent to you. Thank you so very much. This is something you want to add to your calendars as well. The as listed here, superintendent's budget is presented on January 19th. Then we have work sessions to go line by line, page by page. School board work session on January 21st, which means, colleagues, we have 4 meetings in January, not just 2. We have additional meetings just to address the budget. So we have a work session on January 21st. We have another work session for the budget on January 28th. Then we have a public hearing for persons in the community to state their suggestions on February 1st. Then we have another work session on February the 4th, another work session on February 9th, and we don't approve the budget until February 15th. So as you see, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 meetings, including public hearings before we approve the budget and forward it on to the mayor and the city administration. So that. Does that address the question that came up earlier regarding what are we going to do with the budget?
No, ma'am, it does not. I have a motion, Madam Chair.
Okay,
I move that the administration provide the school board the following documents for our January the 19th meeting. And of course, colleagues, I will put that in the chat for you. There are 4 bullets that I would like for us to pay attention to. A list of all central office positions with salaries in excess of $80,000 to include titles, salaries, the 4-digit budget code, class code, and the date each position was created. Bullet 2, job descriptions for all positions noted above. Bullet 3, a list of all contracted services in excess of $250,000. This would to include legal counsel, noting the vendor, service description, contract dates, budgeted amount, the 4-digit budget function code, and the strategic plan line item, if applicable, for that budget function code. The next bullet, a list of all certified and classified staff as of March the 1st, 2020. The last bullet, a list of all certified and classified positions not filled since March the 1st, 2020. And colleagues, I will put that motion in the chat for us.
yes.
I second that motion.
Very good. All that would be listed as well. So we have a motion on the floor that on our January 19th meeting, that we add, if not already, some of those items listed that will be on that document as well when it's presented, that we accept and move forward with a motion at this time. Is there any more discussion?
Madam Chair, I have a question. I would like to also add, thank you, Dr. Harris Mohammed, for requesting that. I'd also like to see organizational charts as a part of that information.
Yes. All right, you are too fast for me on this chat on the side now. I'm trying to keep up with you. All right, and would you be so kind, Dr. Harris Mohammed?
To amend my motion, yes, ma'am. To amend, to amend it to include that?
You can.
Or-
Yes, that's fine. Go ahead.
No, ma'am, tell me what you were gonna say. I'm sorry, Madam Chair.
Go ahead and amend your motion, but I was going to ask Mr. Cameron for a comment as well.
Okay.
All right.
Board member, Ms. Renzi, would you like, I can amend to add that. So it won't be 2 separate motions?
Yes, please.
Yes, ma'am. I would like to amend my motion to add the last bullet, organizational charts, to be included with that as well. And I will add that in the chat.
And I second the new amended motion.
Okay. We have Mr. Cameron to comment before we move forward with the vote.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I would ask the board's indulgence to take some time to fully assess how much time it's going to take to provide all that information. I would be more than happy to provide it all. I just don't know how long it's going to take and if we'll be able to have it already on the 19th. And so if I were able to do an analysis over the next couple of days and follow up with the board, I would appreciate that.
Any other discussion regarding that?
Yes, Madam Chair, if I may. I would think, I appreciate that, Superintendent Cameras, and sharing that with us to also identify the work that may have to go into this and getting the information for us. But I believe, Mr. Cameras, that some of this information should be readily available.
Yes, some of it is. I just want to explore. It's a lengthy list, so I just want to explore what we do have available and what is not immediately available and would require time. I don't want to promise our ability to produce everything on the 19th and fail to deliver. So if I could just have a couple of days to understand what would be involved and how much time, and then I could follow up with the board.
Absolutely. I think that is fair.
Okay, all right. So exactly, Ms. Ritchie, the charts are available. Yes, thank you. We've got it. Thank you so very much. We're ready to vote on the motion made by Dr. Harris Mohammed and seconded by Ms. Gibson. Are we ready for the vote? Ms. Collins, are you ready?
All right, you ready? Ms.
Yes,
Dorr,
ma'am. Yes.
Ms. Burke,
Yes.
Ms. Jones,
Yes.
Mr. Young,
Aye.
Ms. Page, Ms. Page,
You're muted, Ms. Page. You're muted.
Yes.
Ms. Gibson,
Yes.
Ms. White,
Yes.
Ms. Ritzy,
Yes.
and Dr. Harris Mohammed.
Yes.
All right. We can now, thank you all so very much. We can now move forward to 6.02. That was regarding the floating schedules for teachers, excuse me. I don't have the motion in front of me directly. I have to pull it back up, but it was regarding the floating schedule for our teachers.
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, one moment. Ms. Collins, can you go back and reference and read that whole motion?
Yes, give me one.
Dr. Mike will go down to our
Second.
comments. And I appreciate, colleagues, you all listing when you make your motions to put them in the chat section so that we can keep up with everything and make sure that we're adhering to what's listed. It helps us greatly.
6.02, opportunity of floating schedule.
Okay, all right. All right, Dr. Muhammad Harris Muhammad.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Thank you, Madam Chair, again.
And I'll share with you, Harris is in my family's name, my mother's maiden name. So that's why that Harris popped first. But forgive me.
But actually, Harris does pop first in my name, Miss Burke.
Yeah, it
It's
does.
my maiden
It
name.
does.
Yes, ma'am.
It does. I'm going by the last one. I understand.
That's okay.
Please.
I would like for the superintendent to, and he may not be prepared to explain this tonight because I made this motion tonight. However, but I would like for the new board members to be able to read, understand, and identify why the floating schedule for elementary teachers were removed with the concerns that they have submitted prior to the new board members coming aboard. I'm very concerned about their concerns. I'm deeply concerned about their concerns. And before we can rush to a decision as to it's not needed or that it is needed, I think it is valuable for the new board members to receive that information. And I do understand, again, let me be clear, that the superintendent may not be prepared to have that information, but if it was removed, the information should be fresh as to why it was removed from the elementary schedule.
Mr. Cameras and then Ms. Dorr.
Thank you, Dr. Harris Mohammed. I'm happy to provide a presentation at our next board meeting to lay out all the information relevant to this topic. As you know, I'm just not prepared this evening to do so, but would be more than happy to do so at our next meeting.
Mr. Cameras, I appreciate that. Thank you so much.
Sure.
All right, Ms. Dorr, you're listed on the comment section, please.
Yes, I had a check-in with several teachers in the first recently, and virtual remediation was a topic that was discussed both at the elementary and at the middle and high school level. And another concern was related to being able to remediate a certain number of students because if it's only at the same time every day and not interspersed throughout the schedule, that also can be hard for teachers that do remediation. But I think it brings, and I am interested in hearing the administration's perspective on float, given the feedback from elementary school teachers, but I think it does beg a larger question as to kind of checking in with our teachers, which I know you all do on a regular basis, about how the schedule is working and how virtual learning is working. And I wonder if the board would be amenable to some general feedback from the administration based on your teacher advisory and what the principals are hearing about what we can better do to support teachers. We went into the virtual learning schedule with the commitment to be nimble and to change if we need to, and perhaps it's a good time to check in with our folks on the ground.
That's an excellent suggestion, especially since we're moving into the second semester. So thank you so very much for bringing it to our attention, and we look forward to that report on January the 19th. Other informational items, 7.01, received notification of insurance compliance.
Good evening again. This is just our annual notification to the board per policy 3-4.1 entitled Insurance, that we have insurance for all of our real and personal property owned or leased by the school board in accordance with applicable law, and that we have reported these insurance limits to the state.
Thank you very much for that report. Any questions, any feedback? Ms. Gibson? In new business. Okay, I'm sorry. Thank you, Ms. Gibson. I see it. We're moving forward now to new business. Subject 8.01, new business. Ms. Gibson has something to add.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I wanted to request that at an upcoming meeting, we have an agenda item related to the public comment on technology, access to, the security, student access to websites. And I think that data is also something that I think would be important to get clarity on in terms of, the safety and security of our student data. So my hope is that we can have a conversation. I know, parents have, now, students with a lot more access to the internet, and I want to make sure that the material that they are able to access is safe and filtered appropriately. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ms. Gibson, for putting that before us. Is there any other item for new business? I do have a suggestion that was just brought before me, per se, thinking about our meetings, something for our new board to consider. At one point, we were able to have, by having 2 meetings a month, one meeting was strictly a work session, and another meeting was strictly a work session, and then a meeting. So we may want to, I'll explain that later as we move forward. We may want to continue doing that so that we can really just like a laser, as Mr. Young stated, to really scope into some things that we need to address at length. And then our other meeting would be with the recognitions and other items, but something to think about for the future. I'm not asking anyone to decide tonight, but also as we continue to flow as a group, thinking collectively together and utilizing our expertise, that we think about, I don't want to say revamping or revisiting, reimagining. That's the word everybody's using there during COVID. Reimagining the manner in which we design our agendas. And for your information, with new members coming on board, the administrative team does meet with the leadership once a week to look at the agendas. So if you have any other items coming up forthcoming, if you will let us know before, because the clerk has to put that announcement out in board docs so many days before the meeting. So we'll include all that, anything else that comes up as you're studying it and moving forward that we need to add, or things you have want answers to. Are there any announcements? Number 9, any announcements? Well, thank you all so very much. We're getting ready to go into closed session. And I do need to get the motion. I know it was sent by Mrs. Collins earlier today. Does anyone?
I have it here if you would like.
I knew you would have it. Thank you. Go right ahead.
Madam Chair, pursuant to sections 2.2-3711, subsection A and subsection 1 of the Code of Virginia, 1950 as amended, I move that the school board of the city of Richmond convene in closed session to consider the assignment, appointment, promotion, performance, demotion, salaries, disciplining, or resignation of specific public officers, appointees, or employees of the school board and school division, or for discussion, consideration, or interview of prospective candidates, to discuss employment matters as detailed in the personnel actions report of this date, and to discuss the employment contract of specific board employees. Madam Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Young. So that I can explain to our viewers, the meeting is not over. We're just going into close. I can't tell you how long we're going to be there, but we will be coming back to vote on what was discussed during that meeting. And at this time, everyone needs to close out. Is that correct, Matthew? Ali?
Second.
Say what?
Second, I second Jonathan's motion.
Okay, and we have to vote on it, don't we? All right, but I do want everybody to understand that we will be closing out on this, but we are coming back. All right, it's been moved by Mr. Young, seconded by Ms. Dewar. Ms. White, we're going to make sure you are connected for this as well. Are we ready to vote?
Yes, ma'am.
Roll call?
Okay, Ms. Dorr,
Yes.
Ms. Burke,
Yes.
Ms. Jones,
Yes.
Mr. Young,
Aye.
Ms. Page,
Yes.
Ms. Gibson,
Yes.
Ms. White,
Yes.
Ms. Rizzi,
Yes.
and Dr. Harris Muhammad.
Yes.
Now, everybody has thank you, that was unanimous. Everybody has the Zoom information in order to come back in. And the gentlemen are going to get Ms. White situated. Correct, Ms. Muhammad?
Yeah, are we using the same link to?
No, it's when you come back, yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
when we come back, are we using the same link? Okay, thank you.
Yes. Thank you for asking that. So this link that we're closing out, then we use the new link, then we come back under the old link. And Mr. Stanley stated that if any school board member, you all see that, needs the link, let him know in the chat and he will make sure Ali will support you. Any other questions or comments before we close out for close? And if you have any problems with that, please, we do have each other's numbers so we can call in if there's a problem.
Madam Chair, I'm going to be a few minutes. My sugar level is low. I need to get something to snack on, and then I'll be joining in the close.
Take your time.
Thank you.
Anybody else, please do as well. Thank you all so much. See you in about 10 minutes. Bye.
Bye.
Okay, I apologize for that. Everybody's here? Did everybody get on?
I don't see Mariah.
Mariah was going to call in. Who do we have? Janelle? Okay, why is she empty? Oh, you have 2 spots.
Yeah.
Oh, because I'm using your spot.
Yeah, I sent you my link, so.
Okay. All right, but you all can hear me, right?
I'll mute myself.
So we're missing Don, excuse me?
I'm here.
I don't know why I couldn't, we're missing Don and oh, there's Don's. Where's Kenya?
I saw.
Kenya
I think-
and Mariah.
I think
But do we
Mariah.
have, where's Miss Collins?
She's there.
Here.
Where do you see Miss Collins? Oh, there she is. Well, my name is there.
I think we're just missing Mariah.
Okay, well, we, don't want her to miss that vote. Can anybody reach out to Mariah to see if she can call back in? I know she was trying to find that number. Thank you all for sending me that. I don't know why I couldn't find it. Oh, it's been a long day. All right, let's give her a few more minutes. Did somebody reach out to Mariah? Thank you, Stephanie.
I'm sorry, Mariah said that she was in.
Oh, she is?
That's what
Mariah, can she hear us?
Yeah, she said she could hear us all along. So now we see her,
Okay,
right? Isn't
okay.
this her?
See her now.
Yeah, okay.
You can hear her?
Yeah, she can hear
All
us
right,
too.
let's, we're ready to bring the
okay.
meeting back
Yeah.
to order, please. May we have the motion?
I move that the Richmond School Board direct its clerk to call for a roll call vote of the board members that, to the best of each member's knowledge, 1, only public business matters lawfully exempted from open meeting requirements by Virginia law were discussed in the closed meeting to which the certification resolution applies, and 2, only such public business matters as were identified in the motion convening the closed meeting were heard, discussed, or considered by the Richmond School.
Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. It's been motion by Mr. Young, motion by Mr. Young, seconded by Ms. Dorr, that we have reconvened. Mrs. Clerk, please proceed.
Ms. Dorr,
Yes.
Ms. Burke,
Yes.
Ms. Jones,
Yes.
Mr. Young,
Aye.
Ms. Page,
Yes.
Ms. Gibson,
Yes.
Ms. White,
Yes.
Ms. Rizzi,
Yes.
and Dr. HM.
Yes.
All right, we're ready to move forward with the first piece of business returning, which is, you have the, excuse me. We have to have the motion first, correct? All right, so we're ready to receive the motion regarding,
The personnel matter, personnel agenda.
Which number was it on the agenda? I just don't have it in front of me. Thank you. May I have a motion, please? Ms. Page?
So moved.
Can we have somebody to state the entire motion?
I move that we accept the human resources agenda with the noted addendum.
There you go.
May I? It was
Yes,
a
Ms. Lilly.
a noted amendment.
I'm sorry, what did I say? Addendum, I meant amendment. I'm sorry, amendment. Thank you.
Is there a second?
Second.
Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. Are we ready to vote?
Roll call, please.
Ms. Dorr,
Yes.
Ms. Burke,
Yes.
Ms. Jones,
Yes.
Mr. Young,
Aye.
Ms. Page,
Yes.
Gibson,
Yes.
Ms. White,
Yes.
Ms. Rizzi,
Yes.
and Dr. H.M.
Yes.
All right, it's been voted unanimously to receive that report. Without any other business, this meeting is now adjourned. Oh, one more thing, Jason.
What about,
Addendum A.
yeah,
We just, no, we didn't
there
do,
was no addendum A.
right. We received the report with everything in place
Okay.
with that one amendment. One. Go in peace. Good night, everyone.